Hey guys, today we're going to learn about trapezoid area. So our objective is to find the area of any trapezoid. And this is page 63. All right, well first of all, let's look at the formula for trapezoid area. We have half base 1 plus base 2 times height, which means the same thing as base 1 plus base 2 times height divided by 2. Because multiplying by 1/2 and dividing by 2 mean the same thing. We're going to be practicing with this formula because this is what you're going to have on your conversion chart or your formula chart when you take your STAR test. Okay, so first of all, let me show you why this is the formula. Okay, here is, I'm going to just redraw this. Here is an example of one trapezoid. And you can see I have a right angle here, okay, in this case. And it's showing you the height right here. Okay, so what I can do is if I wanted to make a rectangle out of this, because a rectangle would be base times height, I could actually take this and take the same shape and twist it upside down right here. So what I mean is if I take this piece right here and stick it here, so I'm going to use a dotted line, and then this side would still be this side, and then I take this piece and put it here. Well, now I've created a rectangle and I know how to find the formula for rectangle or find the area of a rectangle, and it's base times height. Well, if I looked at this whole shape, here's the base and here's the height. Well, the height is the same as the height on this. The base would be this piece right here plus this piece. That's why we're doing base 1 plus base 2. Because if I'm labeling this base 1, this would also be base 1. And this is base 2, this would also be base 2. This is the height still. So to find the base times height, I'm really adding these bases together and then multiplying by the height. Well, if I did that, that would tell me this whole rectangle, but I only want the actual trapezoid, which is half of it, so that's why I take half. So essentially it's still base times height and then taking half, but because the base is actually two pieces, we have to add that together to get the base before we multiply it by the height. Okay, one other thing that's really important to remember is trying to identify the bases. How do you know which sides are the bases? You know, are these the bases? Are these the bases? It's not always going to be resting on the base. Okay, so the way you can remember that is bases equal parallel sides. So what you need to do is just find which sides are parallel and those are your bases. It really doesn't matter if I call this base 1 or I call this base 1 because I'm just going to be adding them together. Okay, so let's try using this formula on our first example. So first thing I'm going to do is write the formula. So area equals 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height. Okay. So my first goal is to just plug in all the numbers I know. Now, remember your bases are the parallel sides. So right now, I can see that these are not parallel because they'd eventually meet. So that means this side and this side are going to be my bases because they are parallel. All right, so 1/2, and then I have 4 plus 6. Now, to find my height, remember we don't measure height at a slant. We measure it straight up and down. So I'm going to look for that right angle. And here's the right angle. And it's going to be forming a perpendicular line or a right angle with my bases. Well, these are my bases and it's forming a right angle. So this has to be my height. It's going straight up and down. This would not because it's slanted. So my height will be 3. All right, now I need to solve. Well, order of operations tells me to do parentheses first. And really this is the only thing that counts as parentheses because there's an operation inside. So I'm going to rewrite 1/2 and I'm going to add this together, which is 10. And I'm just going to bring this down. All right, so now all I have left is multiplication. And since multiplication follows the commutative property, it really doesn't matter which order I multiply. So you can choose to do 10 times 3 and then take half of it, or you could take half of 10 and then multiply that by 3. Well, I'm going to just do 10 times 3 for this one case. So 10 times 3, that would be 30. And then I want to take half of 30. And remember, when I take half of something, that just means to divide by 2. So 30 divided by 2, that goes in once. down the 0, and that goes in 5 times. So this would be 15. So area equals 15, and then it's meters squared because I'm looking at area. That's how many square meters it would take to cover this shape. All right, last one. So we have our trapezoid. So first I'm going to write the formula. Area equals 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height. All right, so remember I need to find my bases, and to do that I look for the parallel sides. And when I look here, these two sides are parallel, so I'm going to plug those in for my bases. So 1/2 12 plus 22, and it really doesn't matter which base I say is which. And then the height, remember height is straight up and down. Now I could also twist this. So what you're really looking for is that right angle and what's going straight between the two parallel sides. Well, these are both at a slant, and this is going perpendicular or straight between these two parallel sides and forming this right angle. So that means 9 is my height. So then this would be times 9. All right, now order of operations tells me I need to add what's in the parentheses first. So this would be 1/2 34 times 9. Okay, so now I have a couple choices. Since multiplication is commutative, I can either multiply these together first, or these, or these. So I'm going to personally choose to multiply 1/2 and 3/4. And I know that when I multiply something by 1/2, it's the same as dividing by 2. So I'm going to come over here and do 34 divided by 2. Okay, 2 goes into 3 once, and that's 2. Bring down the 4, 2 goes into 14 7 times. So that would be 17. And then I'm going to bring down the times 9. So now I just need to do 17 times 9. So 17 times 9, that would be 63. And 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So this would be area equals 153 feet squared. All right, guys, so make sure you are using this formula, writing it down, plugging in everything you know. Look for those parallel sides to find your bases. Look for the right angle to find your height, and just be careful. All right, guys, thanks for watching.